Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight we'll be we're doing an evaluation of the squad and the players. We'll discuss the Europa League, we'll discuss the upcoming fixtures, how they may or may not affect Ange's tenure at the club, and we'll take questions from the chat, obviously. There's only a few in there at the moment. I'm sure more will join. So to start off with, I'm going to introduce our guest. I'll start off with Brad Matthews, a good friend of the show below. How are you, Brad, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Adrian. Just trying to avoid the white noise that is the Ange out discussion on social media at the moment.
Yeah. And Kev Clark, another good friend of the show, another regular. How are you, Kev?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Adrian. Yes, and I'm much the same as Brad, actually. I'm trying to avoid it all, but it's not always possible, is it?
No, and there is, for those that, we don't try and influence you one way or another. We just express opinions, let everyone express their opinions the way it is. But we won't shy away from it. I mean, there is a protest this Sunday before the Man United game, and there's supposed to be a protest after the game as well, a sit down in the South Stand. So just letting you know if those you were interested in going or not. So and you're watching us on playback. Okay, we'll get straight into the show. We're going to start with this, and we'll evaluate the players as well. Squad review, keep or sell in the summer. Right, so now I'll start with you, Brad, on Sonny, right? Sonny's come in for a lot of stick, right? I'll be honest, he does look gassed, but whether that means he's finished or not, I don't know, because I need more of a sample. But Son's played 33 games. This is all competitions when you see the games here, right? So, or it's appearances for lesser players, right? So, in 33 games, in all competitions, he scored 10 goals and 8 assists. What's your take on Sonny this season?
Well, that's literally one every 2 games, isn't it? That he's involved in a goal, whether it be assist or a goal. I think that, like most of our players, I think we'll know more about Son as the season goes on, when we get players back and we can rest some of the players. I don't think he's as quick as he used to be, but he's 32 years old. That happens. I just think that, like all of our players, he seems knackered at the moment, and he's not in form. There's no denying that he's not in form. So I wouldn't sort of make any decision on him. And I think the cynic in me seems to think that with the South Korean market, I think the club would probably want to hold on to him, even if it's when he retires in an ambassadorial role or whatever it is they give. I mean, I give it to Ledley King, I think Michael Dawson. So I don't think the club would sell him. Whether Son wants to go, I don't know. He certainly doesn't look the same Son that I've seen, but then neither of them do. So yeah, that's a difficult one. I'm sort of really at the moment looking at the end of the season, because let's see, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this later. Let's see whether these injuries are really the reason that we're lacking the form, or they're not. If we get our players back and we're able to rotate and not have as many games, let's see where we end up at the end of the season. If we have a good run in the Europa League, I think we can win Europa League. People laugh, but I think we can. And if we head higher up the table, all right, we're not going to get top 4, or probably not even top 6. But let's see the run. And if we have a good run by the end of the season, then we can say, well, okay, it was the injuries that were causing the problems. And yeah, I've got a lot of sympathy for Ange. Yeah, it's still, with me anyway, jury's out on whether his style of football will succeed in the league, the Premier League. But I think we owe it to him. Not so much we owe it to him, that's probably the wrong thing to say. But I think we need to see where we are at the end of the season and go from there.
Brad's link is here, guys, for all of you watching on playback. There's 10 of you interviewing us now. Get over there and subscribe to this man, right? Writes his own songs.
Music. It's totally unfootball related.
Yeah.
I have said that if Spurs get to a final, I will write a Spurs song. But at the moment, those chances are gradually disappearing.
Right, we'll put that up later, that link to Brad's YouTube channel. Kev, you can add a bit to Son if you like, or you can move on. I mean, because Solanke, 29 games, 11 goals, 6 assists. This is all competitions, though, guys, but I just want to show. But Yeah.
I think at the beginning of the season, quite a few of us were saying we think Sonny's probably, this is when people were fit. Sonny, is almost becoming an impact substitution now because that's where he would be good. Coming on last 20 minutes, he's still got his speed at that point. He can frighten the defences, and I think, if we had the full squad going, I think that's where he would be. I was a bit put out there. He was down the centre on Sunday. I thought Tell would have been better down the centre, but there we go. Solanke, well, yeah, I mean, I think he's our biggest miss at the moment because we've got no one can hold the ball up. Up there, and there's no way we're getting rid of Solanke. I think with Brad on Son, I don't think we'll get rid of him. I think the club will want to keep him anyway, unless he wants to go somewhere for a season to earn a bit of money in Saudi or something like that, and then come back. But Solanke for sure. He's proved his worth. I think in the games that he's played, excellent. He never gives up. Good at holding the ball up, good at bringing other people into play. Could do with a few more goals, obviously, but I think he's
first season.
He proved himself. Yeah, his first season, and he's doing okay, I think. I'll move on to the next one, Johnson. Well, I've always been a Johnson fan. I know lots of people aren't. He gets in the right place to hit goal, but he's another one who probably should be playing down the middle rather than down in a wing. But because he's got that. Nose for goal, and but his crossing isn't that good most of the time, a lot of the time. So, but I'd keep Johnson as well. There's no point in selling Johnson at the moment.
He's another one who's took some stick. I know it doesn't take a lot for the fan, but because they're frustrated with everything's going on, so they'll pick up any stick to back anyone with every opportunity, basically, when things aren't going well. But 12 goals and 3 assists in 32 games. It's one every, contribution virtually every 2 games. I didn't want the player at the club when I looked at videos of him. Shows what I know about football, right? But and last season, what did he get? About 5 goals or something, and an average good strike rate for a wide player was always considered 1 in 4 back in the day, And he's passed that already, even though he's dropped off a bit of form.
Yeah,
12 goals and 3 assists. I'm still trying to figure out the way he plays. When fans criticise him for not tracking back, I think when you look at a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, you've got 2 wide players either side the creative midfielder. And when you've seen Werner and Johnson play, a lot of the times when we've been at the stadium, I've just seen them parked on the wing. I wonder if they're told to stay there to keep you could keep opponents, the defenders, occupied. So if they can't, they've got to stay goal side of you and just stay there. And the rest of their team, midfielders left and right, are supposed to cover for them. There should be a midfield pivot behind them, right? That should be one should be going left, one should be going right. If Udogie or Porro's bombed on, but we're so disjointed in midfield. But I've seen Johnson play well. Man City in the League Cup at home, he did a lot of work off the ball. I've seen him play well about 2 times, I think twice, when he hasn't scored. But your general take on Johnson, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, I agree with Kev. He's not a right winger. I think he's out of position. I think he's more of an inside right or an inside forward or whatever you want to call it these days. Or straight. Oh, he's probably not a striker because he can't really hold the ball up. But we have a problem on the right because we haven't really got a proper right winger. And Ange's, Ian's not here to confirm this, but Ange's system with Celtic was both get down the right, the flanks and put the ball in. Well, Johnson doesn't really do that, and nor does Kulu, really. Kulusevski tends to want to come onto his left foot, which he's got a decent left foot, don't get me wrong, but we don't have a winger that goes to the byline and puts it into the centre where players like Solanke are going to sweep up. Johnson, one thing he does do good is he gets on that far post when the ball's on the other side of the pitch, which is another way Ange's teams operate. So in that respect, I think he does well in scoring the goals. I'm looking at those players that you've got on that list. Most of them have got a ratio of 1 in 2 games. They've got a goal or an assist. which I don't think is very bad, to be honest. I mean, that's pretty good.
We'll get through the whole squad, though.
I think we're the first. I think we're the only team in the league that have got 3 players or 4 players that have scored 10 goals or something like that. Some stat, which comes back to what I said about the peak Pochettino team. One season you had Kane, Son, and Eriksson. Kane, Son, Eriksson, and maybe Dele Alli all scoring 20 goals. You know, so. But to be fair, scoring goals is not really
David, I just want to answer David Clark, mate. Yeah, that's fine, right? You make a point, it's a valid point. But what you have to take in consideration is that we played 8 Europa League games to get to the knockout stage. We played 2 FA Cup games, that's 10. And we played, how many League Cup games? We played 3, 4. We had 4.
4.
Right?
Well, 5,
so
really.
We played 14 games more than Bournemouth, when they haven't had a game midweek. They haven't had no midweek games, whereas we've had them. So it's not, I get what you're saying. That's all right if you want to bash the club with that stick or the manager. But to me, the maths don't add up on that one, mate.
I think most of their injured players have come back pretty quickly as well, haven't they, from what I've heard. So...
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that because, I mean, it's not so much we've got 12 players out. We've had them out for so long. 2.5 months. And that's the real problem, isn't it? They're not, I mean, and then when they came back, they went out again. So it's one of those sort of things.
Right. So, Johnson, Brad, take over Kulu. 39 games. He is the workhorse, isn't he? 9 goals and 10 assists in all competitions.
Well, I think...
I'm a big fan. I remember lots of fans have slagged him off, but...
I remember when he first joined the club. He's not quick enough.
First 2 games, he got 215, 20, and then in the 3rd game, he makes a full debut away to Man City. Son squares the ball from him, he smashes it into the net. Yeah.
I think Kulusevski, as I say, the one thing that does annoy me about him is, well, not annoy, but about the fact he does have to come in onto his left foot when he goes wide. He's been trying a bit more lately. I personally think Kulusevski, he's had a dip in form. I think they all have because of this, constant playing.
He's gassed.
Yeah, exactly. If we hadn't had these injury runs and he'd been able to rest for 3 games, I had him down as an outsider for the Footballer of the Year because I think he's had a really good season. He's certainly been our best player this season. But again, I think he's probably not. I don't think the wing is his position. As I said about Johnson, I really don't think that those two are who you want wide right. He's not very fast, but he's got a lot of strength, and he's got this really good ability of getting past someone. And once he's got the ball, it's very difficult to knock off the ball because of his strength. I think he's a very good player. I still think he's probably more of a midfielder. He's got a lot of strength, but like all of our players at the moment, he's just knackered.
I take it.
Wouldn't disagree with that on Kulu at all, So.
Now we'll please David in the chat, who's from Leicester, he's Spurs fan, with his family are Leicester fans. Maddison, 31 games, 9 goals, 6 assists. Again, he's got good numbers. I've critiqued him. Look, I'll critique any player if I think they're off not on their game. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we're entitled to. I'll pay my money. I'm a season ticket holder, So he's another one who's Marmite to our fans, who again can be quite toxic at times.
I think Maddison. I think there's a lot. I think he can do a lot more. To be honest, I think he's a player that can control a game. I'm sure he has scored. 9 goals is pretty good, but I'm sure he used to score a lot of goals for Leicester. And I think, to be fair, the goals he got against Manchester City recently, that was the goals I used to see him score for Leicester. Probably used to score those sort of goals against us as well. He's one of these players that the first 10 games of Ange's tenure is him and, ironically, Basuma were the 2 players you thought, we can't do without these players. They're brilliant. And then, it sort of like most of the team sort of stepped away a bit. But, I think there's a lot more to come from Maddison. But he is a very talented player. And, it'll be interesting to see how he goes next season. I mean, obviously, he's just come back from injury now. But, it's we see good performances from Maddison, then we see a couple of bad ones. It's a difficult one. But I wouldn't get rid of him. In fact, none of those players I'd get rid of, to be honest.
I think Maddison, he's inconsistent, isn't he? I mean, as you play a great game and then he'll vanish and disappear.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost a game of pick the teams you're going to play him against or start him against anyway.
Yeah.
He's another one of these that can come on and potentially change a game, isn't he? Because of what he can do. And, and when we're sitting there, we're passing the ball around the back and you're thinking, well, why won't someone make that incisive pass? And that's what you expect of Maddison if he's on the pitch, to do that pass that will open up, unlock the low block defence or something like that. And he doesn't always do it. But, as you say, against City, he was great.
You have to keep someone like Maddison anyway. Because, he just offers you so much. He offers you so much different to others, and even Decky. I mean, Decky can be quality in a 10 role, but Maddison's more of a lock picker than Decky is. He's the best lock picker I think we've got in the team, and he does frustrate at times, but he is a quality footballer. I think we're in a situation where when you get a bit frustrated, you're expecting perfection from players Now, the last kid. Stay with you, Kev. Gray, 32 games. Now, I haven't got no other stats for him, but I mean,
I don't think you need them.
He would have been drip fed into this side if everyone had been fit, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's my player. I mean, because Kulu's dropped off it, Gray is my player of the season. I don't think there's any doubt about that at the moment. Up to this point, he has played his socks off. Doesn't matter where you put him. He's always there, and he's composed on the ball. Okay, yeah, he gives the ball away every now and again, maybe, but that's because he's young and he's still, trying to thread that, pass through. But he doesn't give up, does he? I mean, he's brilliant. I mean, the song that I keep trying to start around me is he's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Archie Gray, because he is that player that is always, always there for you, and and he's played in left back, right back, centre back, and about half an hour in where he should be playing in midfield. So yeah, I think if we're getting some of those defenders back to push Gray into the midfield, I think he's been great.
Yeah, I think with Gray, we've yet to see the best of him, really. He's 18, 19. And to be fair, you make the point that he hasn't played in midfield. He probably hasn't played in the midfield about 1.5 seasons. So I think halfway through Leeds Championship season, he got pushed out to right back. So yes. And the fact that I hope he doesn't become one of these sort of players that can play anywhere and he becomes that sort of player. I'd like to see. I hope he hasn't forgotten how to play midfield. Actually, for that.
Well, I was thinking exactly that when he suddenly got into midfield. I think, can he remember how to play this? You don't sort of want him being a Paul Madeley type utility player. I suppose is what you're thinking for us oldies.
But I think with Gray, what hopefully will come in useful towards the end of this season and next season is the fact that he will have all this experience now. Because always the problem is, and that's why you rotate, because you make sure that they've got the experience. So when you need them, they know what they're doing. And Gray and also Bergvall have played that many games that you can start to rotate now. And when they come back to the team, they know exactly what they're going to do. I think Gray, a couple of times, he's too calm for his own good sometimes. But no, I think he's a terrific player. And I've got friends in Australia who are Leeds supporters that are a little bit annoyed that he went to us. But no, I think he's a very good player. And I just really want to see him in that defensive midfield position, which playing in defence will probably be quite good for him to do that, experience for him to do that, because he's got a bit more defensive awareness. But
I mean, that could happen if Davis pairs up with Danso, and even if like Udogie comes back against Man United on Sunday and Spence goes on the right, you freeing up your free. There become other permutations, because I thought Gray was going to play in midfield in a couple of games and he didn't. He ended up being a centre back again. But that kid has not let us down in one game, has he?
No.
Not in one game. And you would have forgiven him mistakes as well because of his age.
Yeah.
Now we move on. Now I'm assuming we're us three and the majority of those watching would keep these players. Now, I think it'll get a bit different. Kev, Porro, 35 games, 2 goals. This is all competitions for those you listening. 2 goals, 7 assists.
I thought I read somewhere say that Porro's played the most minutes in the Premier League of any player across the whole of the Premier League.
I heard someone said to me, and he might be hearing what you've heard, but slightly exaggerating, said Europe.
So there you go.
But,
I mean,
either way,
the back four that Adrian just said, of course, leaves Porro out, and I think a lot of people would like to see him playing further up the pitch because he is a guy who will go down the line and knock that ball over with his right foot. Sometimes he doesn't cross early enough for me in the position that he's in, and I think the chances for him to go in, but he does go down that line and he will bang that ball across it every now and again. And, so he might even be, coming on to be someone down the right there. But, he gets caught out of position a lot, I think. And there's always massive gaps on that right-hand side. And that happened against Villa. I mean, he was completely out of position, for what I didn't see the second goal. I was cooking. But for the first goal, he was way out of the line. But he's got that, that shot on him, and he will bang the ball across. And I think, if we're going to play Spence on the right and Udogie comes back on the left, and I think pushing him a little bit forward maybe. But I wouldn't say.
Yeah, with me, I remember his disastrous start away at Leicester and Newcastle, and we got absolutely battered in both those games. And then he improved defensively. And it seems to me like he doesn't know whether to stick or twist, and he should be sticking a lot more than he's twisting going forward. And look, he's technically superb. And like you suggested, unless he's played further forward or doesn't improve defensively, if he doesn't improve defensively, then I've got no intention. He's a technically superb volleyer. I mean, look, he's got 7 assists, which for a fullback is excellent, and 2 goals. But it's no good if he can't be consistent throughout the season defensively, is it? Because otherwise it's costing us, Yeah,
it's costing.
Even though the only team more than 1 goal is Liverpool this season. All the other losses have been 1 goal. It's mad. They're mad stats. Only Spurs can have these stats, right? Yeah,
I think go on.
Go on. You go on about Porro.
Yeah, I think Porro, I think his form has dipped, but I think the same as all of our players at the moment, the amount of games he's playing, I think that's probably going to happen. At the moment, if you had to pick a right back, it would be Spence for me. But if you going by the old 2 players in one position, your 2 right backs is Spence and Porro. He probably fits a back 3 system with wing backs a lot better. I think probably why they bought him under the days of Conte. Well, I think he bought him after Conte, didn't they? I think. But anyway, he has been found out a little bit on that right-hand side with being out of position, as you say, Kevin. Yeah, that's a bit of a worry. But again, like most of our players, as soon as your fitness starts going or you get knackered, then your skill level drops and your ability to think drops.
Yeah, speed of thought goes.
Yeah,
things like that. Yeah,
and he's not the only one. There's a good actually. Why Ange is not working, and it's done by the guy who does 442 on YouTube. That's it's about 15 minutes, and it goes through all these stats. And the stats, you look at the stats of Tottenham, and it's like, why are we in this position? They just don't seem to make sense. And he seems to think that because we're playing these games and we're knackered, no one's sort of thinking straight, and no one seems to know what they have to do. Now you could put it down to the manager, of course you could, but I think it's just affecting our whole team. But Porro for me, a more forward position. I think. Do you play him as a? Yeah, he's probably the one that does actually get to the byline and puts the ball in, and he's probably one of the best passers of the ball in the team at the moment. Although I will on on a tangent. I think they have changed the football that we use this season because Porro's shots are now going way over the bar, when before they used to go in or on target. So I've just noticed that in the last few games. So maybe they have changed the balls. Bergvall, I presume we're going to Bergvall.
We are. Let me just add to Bergvall, because you'll probably want to talk about this. 31 games, right? 1 goal, 3 assists, in all competitions. But in all competitions, 8 bookings.
Yeah. This is the problem with Bergvall at the moment. I think his goals and assists will go up as his career sort of unfolds at Tottenham. But yeah, I think it's just this youthful exuberance he has that gets him into trouble. I must admit, I have to say, booked 8 times. Of those bookings, I think there's about 4 of them that were, in my opinion, never bookings anyway. So I think he did a shoulder charge on someone on Sunday and got booked for that. Although when you watch it in slow motion, he probably goes into the back of him. But I've seen people booked for far worse than that. So yeah, he needs that. And I think when he makes a mistake, he so wants to make up for it that he does lose his core. But again, he needs someone, and this is what I think we've lacked in this team. Look, I love Sonny, and I didn't mind him being picked as captain, because captains lead by example. Kane was another version, leading by example. But the times we're going through at the moment, you need a captain that will say to players like Bergvall, hey, look, calm down a bit, calm down. And we don't seem to have those players in the team at the moment, and that's why he keeps getting booked. But as a player, I'd like to see more goals, but then he's been playing in that number 6 role a few times. I think we, to see the best of him, I think next season.
To me, Kev, I mean, he looks about, when Bentancur's at his best, it's not playing as a 6, it's when he's getting us up the pitch. Like when he was getting us up the pitch. And like Bergvall's like that, he's got good drive, and he's got good vision, because he looks around, he thinks, sorry, I'm going forward. And that's what you want. And he looks to do something with the ball. He doesn't look for the safe pass.
Yeah.
And he's got a long range of pass on him as well.
Yeah. The progressive carries is the word you're looking for.
All right, okay.
I learned that. I learned that 4-4-2 thing. He does. I think I've said this before. Yeah, when he gets the ball, he does try and advance with it and take players on and that. And we haven't really got any players that do that. We haven't had people that do that for a long time. Maybe Dembele was maybe the last one. And obviously we all remember, or some of us remember, Paul Gascoigne. He used to do that as well. Just get the ball and carry it. And Bergvall does that. And I think that's very useful, because you take the ball and carry it, you take it past one player, and then that team is effectively without that one player for a short time. So I think he's again, it's another youthful player that will get better as he gets more experience. But and another one like Gray, this 31 games he's had will come in very useful next season, I think.
Yeah, certainly will. I agree with everything that you said there. He's the one player, I think, that will carry that ball through the midfield and commit the other team. And that really does frustrate me that no one else does that. You mentioned Dembele. I would say Lamela. He was the other one that used to come take the ball and take it at the players and make them do the tackle. And and it seems to me Bergvall's the only one with the guts and balls to actually do that. All the rest of them stand on the ball, try and moan at someone not running into a space or something like that, so they can pass to it. You've got, if you want to break things down, you've got to take a player on somewhere.
Yeah,
and Bergvall does that, and he progresses with the ball. And as we say, we all said, you almost put a tenner on him getting booked. In most games, and I was a bit worried. I know we sort of fell away in Liverpool and he didn't start the game, but because he got that booking in the first game against Liverpool, my fear was he was going to get another booking in the against Liverpool game, and if we did get through to the final, we banned. That's stupid. But I'm sure he will calm down, because it is a case of he slightly over does the ball and then he's chasing it down and he catches a player or something. But I like him. My fantasy team's named after him, so I've got to like him.
All right,
I'd like to see him shoot from distance a few more times.
He's got that in his locker, though. He has got that in his locker.
He has,
Yes. Yeah, the only other real ball carrier we had that was made of glass was Lo Celso. Quality football. weren't fit for the Premier League. Okay, we're going well. This is good stuff. So I assume we keep right. Davis, then stay with you, Kev. 17 games.
I mean,
Keeping him in the
I know a lot of people hate Davis, and they say he's the reason, and he's what's he been there 10, 11 years now?
Yeah.
I was crying out for him to be playing recently because we've been playing two right-footed players on the left side of defence. When we've got him, there is a left-footed player, and yes, okay, he might not be as dynamic, but he did used to go. And even when he was playing left back, he was running forward and getting there, and he will get there. And I think he is at the moment he's the useful squad player, and he is that player to stick an arm around someone and tell them to calm down, as Gray would have said when he was playing next to him, he was talking to him all the way through the game. So I think he's that person there. This will annoy my son-in-law and his brother and everything else, but I'll keep Davis.
Yeah, he's one of those players that I've never. I understood why fans had a go at Dyer in the last sort of years of his career at Tottenham. But Davis, he's obviously not the best defender in the world or not the best left back in the world, but I thought he always did. He's always done well when we've asked of him, and the effort he's put in this season when we've used him has been exemplary. And I just think he's a player that every club has a Ben Davis. Basically, you've always going to have these players that they're 7 out of 10 players effectively. And I think that he's due for 8. Well, I don't think they do the testimonials anymore, do they? Which fair enough, they get paid enough anyway. But I would keep Davis in there. Obviously, if you're going to buy, if you've got 4 centre backs and then you're suddenly going to buy another centre back that's the best centre back in the world, then Davis will miss out. But at the moment, I think he's doing a very good role, and we need players like Ben Davis at the moment. But end of the season, we'll see what's going on, who we've got. It depends what Ben Davis wants to do. He might want to do something different.
That's an interesting point, Brad, because like the rumours today, I'll come to. I mean, like you've got the fact that Davis, you either keep him, but is he really a player you really keep to go for the future? Not in my opinion. But Romero's down to 2 years on his contract. They're reputed want to offer him the best contract they can to keep him because he's down to 2 years. You don't know what's going to happen with Romero, although Romero's right-footed. But then again, keeping Davis again, Kev, I mean, Vuskovic, Phillips and Dorrington's left-footed as well. So he can use both. And I think he's actually better than a ball than Phillips. And Phillips they're both huge talents, but Vuskovic looks better than both of them. There's 3 centre-backs. And in a way, I'm glad that Dorrington went out on loan because there's no point having a kid if he's going to sit on a bench all the time. He's not going to develop, So your take on the possible transfers? I think if Romero decided to go and he's won everything, so he might do Lloris and be very loyal because Lloris won the World Cup. If he hadn't won the World Cup, I don't think he'd have stayed at Spurs, right? So, but as he's won 2 Copa Americas, Romero and the World Cup, he could go to Real Madrid or whatever if they've got the money. And now, look, they would probably find the money somehow, Madrid, but you're looking at a lot of money for Romero.
Yeah, he's always said he wants to stay at the club, hasn't he? He's always sort of said that, he wants to stay. So who knows?
Yeah. I think he's splitting opinion though at the moment, Romero, isn't he? Mainly because of his,
injuries.
Does he really want to play for Spurs type attitude? Even when he played this season, I'm always critical of him because he slows the ball down. Whenever he gets it, he just slows everything down. And I'm now. Whereas, I thought he was a good player. No two ways about it. He is a good player, but he just doesn't. It always seems to be slightly off it with Spurs, But it might just be the way we play out of the back and things like that. But if Madrid came in with all the money, then sure, I'd probably say, well, thanks, but and off you go and take the money. It's
the one player we got with
yeah. He's frustrating, Romero. He's another one of these frustrating ones, I think.
Yeah, he's another player that on his day could be the best sort of centre back in England or in the Premier League. But every now and again, you do wonder. But yeah, I guess we haven't seen him for such a long time. Sort of forgot how he plays.
Blaine, if you want to come on, I know he's doing his own YouTube channel now. He's picking up his YouTube channel. He's usually on with Sean Butler and he's in that WhatsApp group as well. But Blaine, if you want to come on, I sent you the link. If you want to come on and promote your channel, please do. All right. So we're back to the things again. Right. Okay. Spence, guys. Who wants to go?
He's been great.
It's been one of the biggest sort of success stories or comebacks. It's been a Roy of the Rovers style. I mean, if we went on to win the Europa League and Spence scored the winning goal or the winning penalty or whatever it might be, I mean, it'll be Roy of the Rovers, because this was a guy who I always thought that Conte never gave him a really good run, and he always made us think, oh, club signing, blah 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 blah. And then when Spence went out on loan, he went out on loan to Leeds, and they got rid of him, and he seemed to have some sort of attitude problem.
Genoa.
Then he went to but at Genoa, I think he started to improve, and the talk was pre-season Spurs are going to sell him to Genoa. So I was really
$5
surprised.
million or something. And he's looking at £45 million player now. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I was really surprised that we kept him, because I think in Ange's first season he didn't seem to rate him. So I was very, very surprised. And then when he got left out of the Europa League squad, I didn't agree with that. But he's somehow, again, because of the injury problems we've had, he's coming to this team, and you feel we can't do without him now. He's played so well. So Spence definitely.
He's another ball carrier, isn't he, as well? Because he will go past a player, he will go for it, and and whether he's on the left or the right. I mean, that first game he came in on the right, and all of a sudden, bang, 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 goal. Everyone's.
He's very good in possession when he's crowded on the byline, like Romero. Romero won't put the ball into touch. And neither will Spence. And sometimes Spence will get out of a tricky situation with 2-3 players around him and progress the ball.
No, it's good.
I think Spence is the success story of the season. Really, I think. Maybe young player of the year, possibly.
I think he had a greater fight for that one as well, though, when he. So
let's move on now. This guy, he's getting a lot recently. Basuma, 30 games, 2 goals.
Personally, it's bye-bye.
Free bye-byes.
Yeah,
this is America's Got Talent line.
Yeah, I think Basuma is on his day. He can be one of those really. It's a brilliant midfielder on his day. He wins the ball. He can carry it. Blah 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 blah. But he's always got that error in him. He's always got that moment of madness in him. And we only have to look at recent game. Well, going back to the Chelsea game, and I've made this comment before. When that ball went into the penalty area, and you looked at Basuma, there were yet undiscovered tribes in Africa that knew what was going to happen next. And it's in slow motion. No, and he brought the Chelsea player down. They got the penalty, and the rest is history. Against Arsenal, we got back to 1-1. It's 1-1. I think it's 1-1. We took the lead, and it's 1-1. Basuma had the ball. No pressure whatsoever. Misplaced pass. Arsenal went up and scored. Same against Liverpool. He had no pressure. Misplaced pass. Liverpool went and scored. For a player that is so talented when he wants to be, there's just this. You can't rely on him. You just cannot rely on him. So that's why I'd say goodbye. It's got to that stage now where there are other better. Archie Gray is a good midfielder. Bergwell's come through. Even Jamie Dolany at Orient's doing well. There's some decent midfielders, and I think Basuma is. He'll probably get to the Europa League final, be man of the match. But yeah, no, I think that there's a mistake.
I don't think Ange is going to put up with him. I don't think he goes.
Okay, that thing with the laughing gas. I mean, that was neither here nor there really. But again, it's a discipline thing. He does seem to have a is it savoir-faire? I think it's the word. Attitude.
Laissez-faire.
Laissez-faire. That's the word. Laissez-faire.
Yeah.
So I'm, I mean, this is a guy who, at the end of every Tottenham game at Tottenham, he shakes every ball boy's hand by one, goes on the whole lot. I don't see any other players doing that. So as a person, fine, yeah, great person, but it's just that he's not 100% reliable. He makes too many mistakes.
Yeah, his passing's been very lackadaisical.
Yeah,
important lackadaisical, isn't it? And and that one against Liverpool just about summed it up.
Yeah.
A terrible, a simple little 2-yard pass and
exactly.
Terrible. I mean, just looking at you going, Zuma Bentancur. I wish you'd put Sarr there as well, because
I've got him. He's coming up. He's in the next banner.
I know you have, but when those three are playing together at the moment, I go, no, because those three together are just a combination of, and they're just not the right combination together, and he keeps playing them, and that the Zuma Bentancur Sarr, people think, that's. If everyone was fit, that would still be our midfield, and they're being rubbish. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. But
again, you don't want to keep making excuses for players, but they could be gassed, and it could be the reason. I mean, if you look at
not Bentancur, hardly bloody played.
Well, the first 10 games last season, we won 8, drew 2. It's still a Premier League record, but the midfield three were Sarr, Basuma, and Maddison actually.
But both Basuma and Maddison were on the top of their games.
Yeah, and we were all arguing, who's playing better this season. Before VDV got the injury and the sending offs and stuff like that. Bentancur, guys, 26 games, two goals, 1 assist. He was coming back to his best before he got that 7-match ban, right? And he even looked back to his pre-ACL best as well as I was concerned. But again,
I think Bentancur gets a free pass.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's
I do like him, but
this is a guy that's come back from an ACL injury, which is put him out for 10 months. He came back, and in one of his first games, he got put out for another 7 weeks by Matt Cash. And then when he started getting in games, and I'm not making excuses for what he did, he gets another 8 game suspension or whatever it was. So he hasn't really played a lot. So I think he gets a free pass. Let's see if he plays regularly for the rest of the season. Let's see where he is at the end of the season. But I think it's a bit unfair to have a go at him because he hasn't played a lot. Yes, he could have played better in the last few games. Of course he could, but I just think that this is a player again on his day. Again, where he played for Uruguay in the World Cup, he looked a star. So I think we'll give him a free pass. I will anyway.
You can. I'm not.
Okay,
he just doesn't. He didn't seem interested a lot against Villa. He was, about to make 2 runs or whatever. And the real thing I really don't like is when he does a blind. If the ball's passed to him out from the keeper, he's in the centre of the pitch. He will do a blind pass to where he thinks someone should be on the right hand side, and 9 times out of 10 it gets intercepted by the other team.
That's how I used to play. You should have been there.
At least bloody well look that there's someone out before you'd play the part. I mean, and he's been really frustrating me, Bentancur, a few games. I know he's been out and he's had those injuries. I mean, I had an ACL myself. I know exactly what it's like and how painful the bloody thing is, and I've never kicked a ball since. But in those respects. So, but he's being, he just doesn't look interested. I think, he's much too laid back, sometimes. But then all of a sudden he'll have this big spurt of speed and get a red card. Because you just took someone out. And that red card he got right at the end of the game. When he came back, he was on 4 yellow cards. 2 minutes to go. What does he do? He takes someone out for no reason whatsoever. Banned. Ridiculous.
Staying with you, Kev, the last one on that banner. We've got another banner here. It's Danso in his couple of games. What's your take on him?
Well, I like him because he's another one who in a couple of those games, in those games, he has taken the ball forward, gone sprinting through, even went on, looking for the return pass into the area on one of them. And he's looked reasonably solid. Perhaps he was a little bit, out jumped for Van Dijk's goal, wasn't he? And got a bit lost maybe. But then, he's only his first game in the league and whatever. But he looks good at the moment. Obviously, only 2 games, but I think he looks like a good buy to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that on 2 games, again, by the end of the season, we'll know more. But on 2 games, he looks decent, and he seems to, bark around the orders and that sort of thing, and try and organise the defenders. The goal,
played Champions League qualifiers.
Yeah, I don't
with
think
our 2 games, he played 16 games last season. So he must have been injured.
I don't think he's played at all for about 2 months, hasn't he?
Yeah, he must have been injured.
Yeah. So I think he's got a lot of height, very strong. And I guess for the elegance and pace of Van der Ven, you need a strong, aggressive player alongside him. I think most centre backs, most teams have that sort of balance in there. But yeah, so far so good.
It's a small sample, but he seems to have a good footballing IQ. He seems to be able to spot danger, and you watch him shift position, especially when you're probably concerned about Porro.
I noticed that. Actually,
And he started coming over and covering and things like that.
Yes, I've noticed that. I was watching, I thinking, he's going more and more to the right where Porro was at. Yeah,
he was a bit unlucky with the Liverpool thing when the cross came in and went past him to when Gakpo scored.
I know it's a social media account, and they've all got their social media people. A lot of them have. But he did say the right thing after the Liverpool, didn't he? He said, look, very disappointing result, but I'm so proud to wear the shirt, sort of thing. So, you all right, it's easy to say, I guess, but at least he said it, or his agent said it, sort of thing. But yeah, I think he could be good. And I guess you could argue if Romero does go, he's probably the natural replacement. I think, right-sided player alongside Van der Ven.
Yeah, Phillips, Vuskovic, even Dorrington can play on the right-hand side. Right, the last banner on these, and there's a few in the squad I couldn't fit in, but we'll talk about them. Sarr. Now, some people just think he's an energetic run-around merchant. 37 appearances. This ain't games for those you watching, it's appearances, really, because a lot of these won't have played the 90 minutes. 5 goals, 2 assists. Anyone?
He's an enigma, isn't he? He's an enigma. He's sort of like that sort of player. His build and his ability and his fitness, it's in that sort of Vieira, not Company. Who the other guy was for Man City? Big tall guy in the middle.
Rodri, Fernandino.
Oh no, the big tall guy. I can't remember his name, but that sort of play. He's not there anymore. He left a couple of seasons ago, but yeah, he's got that sort of. You think he could be that sort of player, But 5 goals. I mean, the goal he took against Brentford was just class, really. And he does crop up, and he does seem to be everywhere. Cue Adrian and his the world is covered by water joke, but but he's an enigma. He's sort of wonderful.
He fades or he disappears. Sometimes, but of him, if it was a choice between him and Basuma, it would be him. To stay. In that respect, and he's still young himself, isn't he?
Oh
really?
God, yeah.
He is an enigma, and he's another one of these who will have a good 10 minutes, and then suddenly, well, where is he? Is he still playing? Sort of thing, it's there, yeah. But
I mean, the run he made for the goal against Brentford as well, despite the finishes,
On Blaine's suggestion, I mean, I just think the team's too knackered to press. I think players just haven't got the legs in them to press. Not the way we did. I mean, you don't want to make excuses for him, but at the same time, there are mitigating circumstances. You know, it's a bit like when Ange gives us a press conference and saying, well, we've got technically 11 players out for 2.5 months, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing. And then people have got bored with it and decided to sort of maybe go in hard against Ange and all that. But that's up to them, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm still Angeing. I'd just like to see the manager be able to, like, do something with a fit squad. And I don't mean a completely fit squad throughout the whole season. But I mean, like, you take an average number of injuries throughout a season, not this amount. I've never known anything like this in the whole history of supporting Spurs. Mind you, squads were a lot smaller back in the day. And I think a lot of solutions to this in the future and players' welfare has to come down to the Premier League and all that and saying, well, okay, you're allowed 9 subs, you can only use 5. Well, you can use all 9. And then perhaps Levy won't like it if you perhaps increasing squad depth to 30 players instead of 25. You know, that means more wages, but you know, but something's got to change if this becomes consistent, because we're not the only team. In regards to hamstring injuries, I think we only had 4 with hamstrings. You know, Vicario did his ankle. You know, others are different injuries. Dragonson's a knee.
Yeah, Solanke was just having a shot, wasn't he, in training?
Yeah, he twisted his knee. Romero was a quad muscle on the front. So you really got to look into these. I still think the way the pace of the game is a big contributing factor to a lot of injuries nowadays. Dancer's been a bit,
I think the 4th goal Liverpool scored was. I agree with what David's saying there, but the 4th goal was sort of neither here nor there for me. I think I wasn't even watching. I think I was checking my phone at that. There was going on at that stage. So it's like...
we're going back to the previous comment when it's saying don't want to adapt to a style. Well, we're already in that style. I don't think we're adapting anymore. We're there.
I don't think it's just the dressing room.
They're not training. This is another myth that was going around. Yeah, they're training, causing injuries. They haven't been training. Like this week, they've all been given 2 days off. Yeah. Right? They haven't been training. And if you're going to change a playing style, you do it pre-season when you've got time with the players. You've got 11 weeks. All right, the last 2 weeks in the season started. And then so you've got 9 weeks, of which you would hope that in your first 5 weeks of the transfer window, you've got all the players in you want, and that leaves you a month with them before the season starts. That's my ideal scenario. But, you know. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to young Mikey Moore. This is 18 games, 18 appearances, obviously. 2 goals and 4 assists. Who wants to take
his second goal?
That was what I was trying to think of today. I've got these all off a transfer market, all these stats. Right?
To be honest, but
goal was against Elfsborg.
Yeah, that's what I thought. His first ever goal for Spurs.
Not the one where he cut diagonally across the 3rd goal, right? Against Elfsborg, that goal.
Well, he didn't score against Brentford, he didn't score against Liverpool, and he didn't score against Villa. So I think that might be incorrect. I'm pretty sure that his first goal
may well be incorrect. Like in which case,
it doesn't matter. I mean, this is a player that potentially could be one of our better players. He's got the exuberance of youth. He's not scared to do stuff. I mean, that little 20 minutes he had against AZ in the Europa League was
on the left,
amazing. And I got the impression watching him do that he would try and do that against Real Madrid or Barcelona or any of the teams because he's confident enough to do it. Again, he's one of these players that I know he's 18 or 7. No, he's only 7 now. He just turned 17. Another player that you've got to treat with kid gloves. And people seem to forget, I think Ferguson with Ronaldo was had him in and out of the team when he first bought Ronaldo, as this up-and-coming star. So, I get people say, put him in every team, every week. But, these players, I think you do have to, to sort of, just treat them a little bit with kid gloves.
Yeah, and on that, Brad, Kev, as well, to you, on that, I mean, some fans were complaining that he took him off at half-time against Brentford and took him off at half-time. He's 17 years of age. We don't know what he's got in his legs in the Premier League. This isn't under 21 football, academy football. He's looking after. He does look after players.
Had glandular fever.
I think he did, yeah. Which not sure about it.
That takes it out of you anyway. But I think you Brad, knocked it on the head there when you said about AZ playing on the left. Now he's been playing on the right quite a bit now, and he's much better on the left than he is on the right. But they keep putting Sonny on the left. So it's another one of those.
Yeah.
Is he playing in the right position, sort of thing, when he's playing out on the right? But he's definitely got the skill and the enthusiasm.
Played on the left.
Well.
He's played on the right.
Has he got the legs at the moment? But because of the illness he had more than anything else,
he's 2-footed.
It's a hard one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
He can switch the ball. He's got great low centre of gravity. Yeah. I said once, and someone didn't actually laugh at me. I said, because of his balance, switching feet to feet and dribble, sometimes he's going to go in, go left, zip right, go left again. And when he's another one like Bergvall. When he gets the ball in space, he uses the space. He charges forward, and then he can get out the head of steam. Like most wingers like to be in like almost full flight, because then if you're not with your back to go on, you've got more chance of skinning the defender, haven't you? So, and I've seen he could play, as far as I'm anywhere in the front six, more like he could play the ball carrying role, centre midfield, left, right midfield, left, right wing. Definitely 10, 9. What is he? 5'10" in height, things like that.
He's very. I noticed when I went to the QPR friendly. We're behind the goal, got a bit of a close up. He's actually very well built for a 16-year-old. So I mean, you look at someone like Brian Hill, and you think, well, this is a really, really skillful player. But you look at the size of him, you think, well, he's going to get knocked about in the Premier League. Whereas I think with Mikey Moore, he's pretty well built, and he's obviously going to get even better as he gets older. He doesn't stop growing. So yeah, and I like to see him. And I think when he gets more confident, because at the moment he's still one of the young kids, isn't he, in this team? As he gets to know his player, gets more confident, I think we'll see him coming in from the right and having a few shots at goal. Because I think
did you see him score the goal away in Scotland in a pre-season friendly?
I think so.
From the outside there, he cut in across and all that, and put it in.
Yeah.
And I said to someone, I said, look, don't want to make a bold statement. He's got that centre of gravity where he can switch from left to right quickly with both feet, like Maradona's got.
Yeah.
Like Maradona had. And that's and I'm only using that as a comparison.
You've got to be careful of the chat will be full of, he's comparing.
I just think I haven't watched one full under 21 game this year. I watched them all last season because we started the group and they played Fridays and stuff like that. And they've lost half the players out. We'll come to the loanies later and I'll tell you how they're getting on. Mikey Moore, I just think he's just an absolute superstar in the making, in my opinion. Let's move on to a fan's favourite here, VDV.
Who?
Well, Van der Ven. 12 games, 2 assists.
I mean, when he's on song, you can't knock him, can you? But then you're sort of watching him running through, and you got all your fingers crossed and your breath held that he isn't going to collapse again in sort of pain and agony somewhere. And the last one just looks so innocuous. In that sort of thing. But when he was running at the start of the season, when he did that run through and cross the ball, I mean, brilliant. And he reminds me a little bit, going back quite a few years, of a last-ditch defender running back and diving in. A young player we had called Keith Osgood, who
I remember him.
To defender, but he got badly injured and sort of never really made it.
Des Walker might be a better comparison.
Yeah. I mean, he was fast. I think he's bulkier than Walker. Walker was, isn't he? And if we can get him over this fragility in his legs, what a player he could be. I think.
Yeah, he's a Rolls Royce of a player, isn't he? Really, he's.
And Brad, and in a centre back position anyway, whether you're playing a high press or not, I mean, which I haven't seen too much of actually. The centre backs do the least amount of running in the team anyway. So even Van der Ven said when he played at left back, a couple of times when Ange did play him at left back, he said he was puffing. Van der Ven's more your short sprint type footballer who uses his pace well, to get us out of trouble, like, you know, more than someone who's going to run for 90 minutes. I mean, I bet if you check the kilometres of our players and the centre backs, it'd be half of what the other players do. I would have thought, you know.
Yeah, I think the only mark against him is jumping ability. I think, but I think with Solanke, Danso now, even Bergvall, we've got a few players in there. Richarlison, a few players in there at corners, defensive corners, can head the ball out. But yeah, he's a player that if he had a full season without injuries, he'd make the one of the centre back roles in the team of the year without a doubt. I think he's that good. But unfortunately, we only get to see him every now and again, and the style of football we play, I thought he looked like you noticed how much we've missed him, even in the game, the first half against Elfsberg. Even though we were pushing Elfsberg back for most of the game, you could tell that we're still secure with Van der Ven back there, and he read the game, seems to read the game well, knows when to get in that position. But
on Keeley and Donnelly, I know they're playing Mansfield tonight, and Craig Matthews is at Mansfield, but I don't think he's playing tonight. He might be suspended or injured, right? So there's three of them. I don't think Craig Matthews is playing. I'll do a lone watch roundup tonight. I'll do one anyway, right? Go on, Brad. I broke your train of thought, probably.
Yeah, no, just Van der Ven. I just think you'd want Van der Ven in your team every week, wouldn't you, really? And maybe if you can rotate, maybe you will get more games out of him. But at the moment, it's not happening. And hamstring's an awful... I've had a hamstring injury once and through playing cricket, ironically. And, it's one of those injuries where you feel... I noticed when I walked to work the next day that you're walking along, and then suddenly you hit a bump in the road, and then wow, you feel it. So it's not a very nice injury, especially if you're relying on pace, which I didn't rely on pace, I have to say. But Van der Ven, relies on pace, or it's very, that's one of his attributes. But yeah, it's be sad that we haven't had him all season.
Romero, 14 games, 1 assist, right? I'm a big fan. Comes in for a lot of stick from the fan base. Last year, when it come down to voting players of the year, this is what fans are like. They like the sexier players more. They give it to VDV, right? And I thought Romero had played better because VDV had time out for injury last season when he did his hamstring, so he played more games. But in all honesty, Sarr was our best midfielder last year, and the player who played every game who should have got that off the fans was Vicario, who saved us loads of points. And I would have given it to Vicario, but we're talking about Romero now. Fans always get uppity if they think a player's not long going to leave. We had nothing for him. All I know for definite is he loves Ange. He loves Ange. So that might play an important part in him staying or going in the summer. But these rumours aren't going to go away because it's just football. Them poor media outlets have got to have something to make up and speculate about. So, and they're all saying he's lost interest and all that. I don't believe he has personally, but that's only my opinion. People could disagree.
Well, the problem
Romero, go on, or doesn't matter, one of you. Romero.
The problem is that once you get issues of, he doesn't want to be here, blah, 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 then suddenly people look at, I bet he's ready for the next Argentinian game. He might well be. It might just be coincidence. He happens to be fit when Argentina play next. But the other thing that someone pointed out, when all of our players were, on the bench celebrating our young kids, go, where was Romero? Couldn't see where he was, that shows what he's about. So everyone finds their little ways of this. So again, we won't know to the end of the season. If Real Madrid come for you, and then what do you do if you're a footballer? He's got no loyalty to Tottenham, really. It's not his boyhood club or anything like that. So if he's playing for Tottenham, no matter how much he loves the club, if Real Madrid come knocking on the door, his head could be turned, as any player. And I don't think that's really anything to look down on. But I hope. I mean, again, he's one of these players at top of his game. He's one of the best centre backs around, and we haven't had Romero and Van der Ven. Again, that's Van der Ven, the Rolls Royce, and Romero, the I'm trying to think of a word for someone who's aggressive in car form. I can't think of it, but he's one of the only winners we've got in there. To be fair, it's winning mentality. Well, you need to actually win something to have a winning mentality, and he's certainly done that by winning the World Cup.
I think Romero's twice to 3 times the player Van de Ven is, and that might be a controversial thing to say to people that watch this on playback. He's better in the air. For someone that's always should be better, his positional play is better, although he has been caught upfield a couple of times for a few goals, but not many of our goals this season. Not as many as some fans maybe like to think. He's better on the ball. He's a better passer. He progresses the ball upfield, and I think Danso will be able to do that for us, right? He looks like he can progress the ball. But that VDV will go on one of these runs when we scored a couple of goals, right? When Son got the one against Everton, when he went a long-ranging run, Son kept up there when he had plenty of gas in the tank. But that's my take. I am a big fan of Romero, a big fan. And I'd hate to see him go, but, I've seen players come and go for decades at this class. I'm sure we all have, right? So that's me.
I had my moan about Romero earlier on in this. In this, so, I haven't really changed my opinion about it. My big bugbear with him is how he slows the game down. When we want to play fast, he gets the ball, he stands on it.
He does actually, yeah.
Very high, very easy when we're up there when we haven't got the players' line of sight at pitch level, And also, you've seen it as well, and you heard Brad when we're at games. Where's the movement in this team from the front three and then where's the movement? I mean, I blame him for some of it. I think he's too slow, and he might turn, and then someone's moved, and it's too late to lay the ball off. Like, you know what I mean? But I get that. No, I get at times.
He is waiting sometimes for someone to make that run, and no one's making the runs in behind because he can do that long, that long ranging pass. Dare I say it, like Dyer used to do to Ali.
Toby was
those passes, he can do, but no one's making those runs, are they? I've got my reservations about Romero. I hear what you say, Adrian, but I just have my reservations about him.
Well, I think he'll give it all. I think he'll give his all, no matter how he's feeling when he plays. But I do get your point, Kev, about standing on the ball. I mean, Thomas said he does that to see what the opposition are going to do and try and bring them onto him and then get rid of the ball. But my mate Martin, who Adrian knows, Steve, who Adrian also knows, used to make that comment as well. So it is a thing that he does. But on his day, what a player!
You doggy. Last season, I thought this player could probably go on and be one of the best, if not the best, left-sided backs on the planet. He's a tank going forward. He's hard to get the ball off on it, but he didn't have a proper pre-season for injury. He was thrown into the team. I'm not sure if that was a good or bad decision. We don't know. And not having a proper pre-season, I'm a big fan of him. I'm sure he'll get his mojo back. I think he's been absolutely piss poor this season. When he's playing. Seriously.
I think I'd agree with you entirely there, Adrian. I mean, I thought he was going to be fantastic, but at the start of the season, he wasn't there really, was he? And he was giving the ball away too much. Not getting out of position maybe. But I think he'll come back. I think because I think he's that type of player and
he's powerful. He'll come back. He'll be back.
So, I mean, he's due to be fit this weekend, isn't he? So
he should be back. So if he's fit, all right. The thing with these players coming back, and I don't want to make excuses for them, but you've probably got the fitness levels, otherwise you ain't playing. But it's the old match sharpness, isn't it? The speed of thought when you're in games and playing games and got to do things quickly without giving the ball away. So I'm just praying that if he starts, and I would start him because you got to start him sooner or later. If he's fit, he starts because it frees up Spence to play on the right, and I would rest Porro because Porro's played a lot of games.
Yes,
and that might have affected his performances, but Porro, I need to see a more consistent Porro for me to have faith in him. Right.
Porro, Kulusevski, and Son, I'd like to see sent to an island somewhere in the sun to say, look, just lie on the beach for a week. Take it easy.
Well, they're going to get plenty of rest, and I'll come to that later.
I agree with you two guys about Udogie. I think next season, that's going to be the season where we'll find out what sort of a player he is, and I guess the rest of this season as well. Maybe he was just so good in that first season that he set himself such a high bar that you only have to drop off that slightly, and he's not playing as well due to your perception of him. So maybe he's up there and he's down there. We want to see him probably in the middle. But yeah, I mean, again, the other problem with Doggy is that the only left back we've got. I mean, we don't really, Reguilon wasn't really, faults at all. But as soon as Doggy's fit, you play him because he's a left back. So I think that's an area in the summer we need to address.
Yeah, I mean, I think they tried to look. The recruitment team would have known, like any man, this dog know that we needed a left back. So they would have tried. Any of the clubs weren't selling players, didn't want to come on, they just weren't available. They must have been trying. And perhaps the club should have said that anyway. Look, we want to sort out a left. But then they might not want to play their hand for the summer transfer window when you've got 11 weeks to get players in.
But yeah, I think the rest of the season, the next season will be hit the season where we'll find out how decent he is.
The one thing I would say about you Dodgy, is sometimes he doesn't pass early enough.
Yeah.
Most of the time, he doesn't pass early enough.
He likes to hang on to the ball.
Free ahead of him, even Sonia free ahead of him, and he just won't let go of the ball. And I don't know.
I think he's got Bassoomeritis, Kev. He's got Bassoomeritis because when he and then what Bassooma does, he'll go on these wandering mazy runs to the left or right. And when he loses the ball, there's so much space in midfield.
Space in the middle.
It's like,
He scored a couple of goals last season, didn't he? I think you Doggy from memory.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
against Brentford and I think against Newcastle.
Yeah. Did he get one against Man United?
I can't remember now.
Right. We'll pair the last two. Vicario 15 games and Forster 13 games.
Well, it's bye-bye Forster, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't no way get around that. He's not in the Europa League squad. It's the last year of his contract. He's done his job. Fair play to the guy. He's done his job. He stepped in when Vicario got injured, and I think did very well. He's well liked around the dressing room, that sort of thing. But now I think with Vicario, Kinski, and memory's gone. The other guy,
Austin,
yes.
Whiteman.
I think Whiteman will be off. I think he needs to find another club. Fourth choice goalkeeper. I mean, the third choice goalkeeper had a long wait before he played. So I think with Vicario, Austin, and Kinski, we've got three decent goalkeepers there going forward. And Forster, thank you very much. Love what you've done. But
Austin's only had the one game.
Yeah, it's a goodbye sort of thing. And the other thing about Forster, which annoyed me intensely, was his penalty saving attempts in that Fulham Cup game that we went out on penalties. I'm sorry, but I have not seen a worse performance from a goalkeeper on a penalty shootout than that day. So, the other thing he's getting on a bit and to get down to those low balls. It's a bit now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, the frustrating thing about Kinski, you notice he isn't on your list, Andrew, unless you got him on the next one as well. He seems to have got worse from his debut against Liverpool, where he was thinking about he was playing the ball long, not at all of a sudden he's back into the goalkeeping coaches must have got him because he's playing all these short balls again, and playing them out to the left where we've got two right-footed players, and we're crucifying ourselves, in those sort of terms. But there we go.
Yeah, I've never understood the pass the ball out to the guy who's literally sending in the penalty arc.
Yes, with 3 players around him.
Yeah, I've never got that. And the other thing, which I think Forster said, which they all seem to do, he said, if I pass the ball out, I don't want it coming back to me. And apparently that's how they train, but that happens every match. Pass the ball comes back to him. I'll say one thing for Kinski, actually. A lot of admiration for his performance at Villa, because that first goal was a goalkeeping error. He knew it. And then I think he had a little bit where he got the ball and he almost lost the ball. So he had a very shaky start. But I'll tell you what, he made some really, really good saves that kept us in the game. So fair play to the guy that he came back. But again, he's a young keeper, isn't he? Keepers, as we've been saying, more experience they get, but he's done enough for me to say that we got a regular number 2 there. Yeah, I mean, again, maybe he set the bar so high against Liverpool that first game that anything other than that is he's lack of form. But you are right. He was very calculated his passing out that night, and the crowd were cheering. But he's just gone back to the quick. Oh, what you doing now? Sort of thing. And he's
I didn't make a bit lackadaisical with taking the ball too fit and taking just that little bit too long. To do Arsenal and the like, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he almost got caught against Arsenal. Against teams are going to really press him. He needs to sort of.
Of course, now that everyone thinks, we just run at him. So.
I didn't make a 4th banner because there weren't enough to go on it, but I saved a couple of your favourite players to last. Well, Odebert, we need to see him. All we know is that we need to see him, obviously, so he's not there. Solomon, who kept Mudryk out of Shakhtar, the next side. I mean, he's got 6 goals and 6 assists for Leeds. He's flying. Hook's getting a few games for QPR. Well, time he come on twice as sub, I think. Now, a couple of your favourites, Richarlison and Verney. Might as well take them at the same time because I ain't keeping those 2.
Probably not.
I mean, you said we got to see Odebert. We haven't got to see Werner. I mean, he's fair play to when he scored that goal early in the season in the Europa. I had money on him to score, so he's only a few quid. He's only a few quid, but he's earned me a few quid because I just thought he's going to score, and so I had a bit on him. But apart from that, I mean, the misses are just horrendous, aren't they?
And Richarlison getting injured again.
He's another man made of glass, isn't he? And he's like a brick wall. Can't control the ball, can he?
It's got to the stage with Richarlison that you got to cut your losses and say, sorry, mate, you're injured too many times. As much as I love you, man, and you're enthusiastic and you give your all and that. Sorry, it's bye bye.
Well, quick plug for the groups before we move on. This is where you can find Brad at Blue Sofa Songs. Please get over there.
For any of you that don't know my Blue Sofa Songs channel, I'm a songwriter of sorts, and I write my own songs, play all the instruments, do all the recording, do the videos, do everything basically. So get on there. A little bit of politics in there, which you may or may not agree with, but that's fine. But most songs are about everything really. A couple of funny songs, Christmas songs. So they're all there.
Need a sousaphone player? I'll play the sousaphone.
Well, I've got a keyboard that does everything. It's like you want a male choir? Keyboard does it. So, but thanks for the plug, Adrian.
No, we'll plug them again at the end of the channel. While we're there, we'll plug our channel. If you like the content, guys, we're pretty chill here, mature and sensible at Spurs Diehards TTID. Please smash the like button and leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. We have got a Facebook group as well, which has got nearly 14,500 members. We've also got over 3,000 members on XCOM, Twitter. And I actually, with the help of Kev's son here, Tom, who's also an admin in this group, I've started a Facebook page for the group. It's only been up a few days, but we've got nearly 300 in there already. Which is
the one I saw. The one I got a message.
I don't know. I don't know. Right.
You sent me one, and then you deleted it, and then I got another one to like. So I liked it. So I think that was
probably. So that group. I mean, like I've put nearly 200 black and white photos on it. I've put a few video links on there as well. I mean, obviously, it needs a lot of hard work, but it started okay. And getting used to navigating it. It's like all these new group things, finding where you're on, what this does and what that does, So I've had to go and Google and watch videos and stuff because it's stuff that I didn't know. So, and you can find a Google for anything you need to know. It doesn't mean you have to embarrass yourself.
You know that all
go and ask a stupid question to someone.
All the kids say that Facebook is for us oldies. That's what they say.
Do they?
Yeah, we get you TikToking yet, Adrian, I suppose.
I've no idea how that one works. I get a lot of notifications from them, various well, let's say various racy sort of things. The problem is, you get something. I know we got off track here, but you get something. You think, oh, what's that about? And you click on it, and you, oh, okay, fair enough, and you click off it, and so then you'll get the next day, you watch this, you might be interested in this sort of thing. So it's like,
right. Let's move on to our upcoming fixtures, especially with the injury list, because this is interesting, right? Like, we got Man United at home, 4:30 for Sunday. I'll be there. Kev, you there for that one?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Then Saturday the 26th, we've got Ipswich away at 3:00. Then Wednesday the 26th, Man City at home at 7:30. And then Thursday the 6th of March, you got the Europa League, the away game. We don't know who our opponents are yet. It'll be one of AZ Alkmaar, Real Sociedad, Galatasaray, or Midtjylland, or whatever they're called, right? Then Sunday the 9th, we play Bournemouth, right, at 2:00 at home. Oh yeah, Thursday March is the second Europa League game. Now we haven't got 2 games a week now. I mean, we will have when we play them Europa League games, but then from that Thursday to March, we go to April the 2nd without a game. Now, this is either due to FA Cup games, European games. I haven't checked it.
Internationals, maybe?
International break.
Well, the international break is right. I'll give you the international qualifiers here. The World Cup qualifiers, the international break, Albania at home on March the 21st and Latvia at home at March the 24th. But if you see here, from Thursday the 13th, which is our second game at home against whoever our opponent is, from the 13th to the 21st, we haven't got a game.
That must be international break, and then the following week must be cup, I think.
But they might fit the Fulham game in there because we're playing that second leg at home when we're supposed to be playing Fulham the day before on the Wednesday. So I can see them putting the Fulham game in this 8-day break because it would make sense to do that. I don't know if Fulham are involved in anything else. I don't think they are.
I think the Fulham game wasn't that the game that's on. I thought the Fulham game was on the Sunday of the League Cup final.
I thought it was the 12th. I thought it was the Wednesday.
I've got here the 16th.
Finals the 15th.
It's got to be arranged anyway, so it's in no man's land at the moment. You know?
I've got the 16th of March, Sunday, Fulham versus Tottenham, 3:00 kickoff.
So we talk about that. So, do you think the Europa League is Ange's saving grace?
I'm not sure it'll be his saving grace, but I think we got a very good chance. I'll tell you why. To me, the season starts here now. I'm just going to draw a line under everything else. That's it. That's all in the past. I think in the league, we're 10 points plus goal difference away from the relegation spot. 3 very poor teams in those relegation spots. So it will take something extraordinary from them and from us for us to Tottenham to get relegated. So I think we're going to get enough points. We're relatively safe. So I think that means we can play our strongest lineup in the Europa League. Now, the Europa League first leg, March the 9th. Hopefully, we're going to have some players back from injury, and we've got the 2 new guys as well. We're going to play.
And on that, Bergvall's probably suspended for this because Article 63.02 from the first match in the league phase, players and teams are suspended for the next competition after 3 cautions. And this is 3 of his 8 cautions he's got, right? I don't mind he's got a bit of bite about him, but he needs to just not be reckless. You know?
Well, I think that we'll hopefully be able to play a relatively strong lineup against whoever we get. These teams finished well below us in that league, so that suggests that on form we're better than them. Galatasaray, a lot of people are worried about the away game because of what happened last time. I haven't checked. I should have checked before tonight. I think you'll find that the side that we put out was, again, a lot of the youngsters playing. And even then, we got it. I think we got it back to 3-2, didn't we? From 3-1 down, and they didn't look that good. Yeah, Lancashire got sent off, so we had 10 players. Got it back to 3-2. They didn't look that good defensive. I mean, nor did we, to be fair. But so I'd say over 2 legs, whoever we play, we should be winning that. And you win that, and you're in the quarterfinals, and then suddenly it all becomes real And I don't think there's a team. Look, it's all about on the night. On the night, the thing about cup games is on the night you could play poor, the other team could play well, and you're knocked out. Obviously, Europa League.
I had a tenner yesterday at 9-2 on Spurs to win.
Yeah,
Man United are favourites of 4-1. How can they be favourites of 4-1? Yeah.
Well, we got two legs, haven't we? So 2 legs. I've heard a couple of stories that we can't play Man United until the semi-finals, and some people say the final. That'll be the one game I would fear because it's like for like you're playing. But I think the other thing is our intense way of playing. European football, I don't think is as intense as Premier League football. No. So I think you've got an advantage there. So I just think we've got a very good chance. Our form's got to improve. Don't get me wrong. We've got to get our confidence back. I mean, that's what's lacking at the moment with all these losses. But I think we'll have a chance in that. If we can get through whoever we play in the next round without any major problems, suddenly it becomes very real in this. So,
I mean, it could well be a Spurs United final, couldn't it?
It could be, yeah.
At the end of the day. Well, obviously, there's a couple of other clubs in there that might have a say in that when we get to semi-final stages. Thing, but yeah, I agree. I mean, you've got to go all out for this now because it's the only chance, isn't it? Doing anything and having something for next season as well, because we're not going to get into Europe via the league. So I mean, that might be a blessing in disguise, a season without Europe again, maybe, but it will piss off quite a few people if we don't get there.
The other thing, sorry, go on. The other thing about Europa,
I'm going to miss the home leg, unfortunately, because I'm going to be in York. But
well, the other thing about the Europa League is we are guaranteed we won't face Liverpool, Arsenal, or Chelsea. And these 3 teams have been our nemesis in recent years, so we won't be facing them. I'm not as arrogant to say, I'm going to win it easy. There are some good teams in there, of course there are, but I just think on our day, we can beat any one of those teams. So, we've got a chance.
When we've got everyone...
I'll give you a brief line watch, then we'll do a quick preview of Sunday's game. Loans, well, Keeley and Donnelly are at Leyton Orient. If those you don't know, Keeley's been doing very well. Donnelly scored virtually a half-line goal against Man City, and they narrowly lost the game in the Cup 2-1. Vaskovic, he's another one he's young, but he was suspended, and I think Devine came on in the last 24 minutes for Westerlo. They won 4-2 or something like that at home, right? Phillips is doing well at Stoke. Abbott's been playing very well at Notts County. And by the way, Abbott is he was captain in the under-18s and the 21s, and he's a tank. I mean, Dorrington's at Aberdeen was okay. I mean, Velez hasn't set the world like Espanyol. He's been getting more minutes now. Gill he's got about 4 goals at Girona or something like that, Solomon, we know he's got 6 goals and 6 assists for Leeds. He's flying. Like, they talk of them buying him. We may even sell him if Ange don't think he suits the system. I mean, the best we see of Solomon actually was when that Burnley away game when we won 5-2, when he assisted Son twice for his hat-trick up there. I mean, and before he played on the left there, I'd seen him on the right, coming on a couple of cameos. And he is a dribbler. So, I want to see a bigger sample, but it looked like he's got something about him. Leeds, Minion Hook, he's at QPR. I think he's having his second appearance today or something. You think he got a good lively write-up actually for his cameo when he came on.
My mate Stuart, who's a QPR fan who season ticket holder, said he looks very lively. So and that's quite an emotional comment for Stuart. To make so
the one thing is when I've seen videos of him, even in the K League, and he got he playing something like 12 goals in 26 games or something like that. The one thing is he is fast. I'm telling you, he is fast. So
we need someone speedy.
Yeah, we do need a bit of pace.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, David. Real Sociedad 7.
At our level, then, David.
yeah. I was going to say,
Yeah, Lazio probably. Well, you'd say that, but then you do go. I mean, imagine if you're a foreign fan, you're playing Man United. You actually think they're a good side because they've got that big famous name, but they ain't no better than us at the moment. We're rubbish. Right. So back to the banners. Oh, where are we? Oh, where am I? This would be very easy when I get down to where I want to be. Right, okay. We'll obviously update what we're chatting about now, but we need something to talk about during the week for those people that don't attend Friday shows. And so we'll do what we think is the predicted lineup, but bearing in mind that until we know what Ange's press conference is on Friday, things could change drastically. Wouldn't surprise me if Vicario was back. Yeah. So these are our injury woes. 10 now, because we know you, Doggy, will at least be on the bench Sunday. Vicario, Romero, Dragerson, Madison, Solanke, Johnson, Werner, Odebert, Richarlison, VDV. We know that VDV and Remember might be 2 weeks away. Madison may be back, and Johnson, they're very close. Madison and Johnson are very close. So, predicted lineup for fun. Who are we going for goalkeeper, guys?
Oh, it's got to be Kinksky in it, I'd say.
It'll be Kinksy. If Vicario isn't fully fit, Kinksy. I mean, I think Austin's been unlucky, really. Not
one game. He's only had one game. I think it's because the other two they kick. He does his kicking. Austin there's one thing that lets him down. He was under 21 goalkeeper. He's 25, 26 now. He should have, he should be getting rave reviews in goal, shouldn't he?
He should. Yeah, but it'd be Kingsley, even with all his sort of.
This is a bit more complex. You Doggy, Porro, Spence, or Gray at fullback.
Depends who's fit, doesn't it? Depends who your centre backs are.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we all said earlier on that you go your Doggy Spence for
and give Porro a rest.
I don't think he'll start you Doggy, so he might start.
Porro needs more than a rest than Gray does. Because
Porro needs the rest. I think but my gut feeling is he'll play Spence Porro, but I'd like to see it use you Doggy and Spence.
Well, he's been resting Bergvall recently, so I wonder if he might rest Gray.
Yeah, might rest Gray.
Yeah, you see, this is the thing. You get 1-2 players back, and the permutations go through the roof. I mean, you could go Spence and Gray at fullbacks if you're playing Davis and Danso as centre back, and then rest and leave your Doggy on the bench. It's interesting.
I mean, if all four players were available, then I'd go Spence and Doggy.
Yeah, I would as well. Yeah. I would as well, right?
I think you find that Gray will play in more than one position on Sunday. I think you start somewhere and then get moved.
He could probably play goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So, at centre back, put Gray in there again because you don't know. I mean. He played Gray and Danso, but worked well. Maybe because Gray's not slow. I mean, I think he's quicker than Davis, but I don't know.
I mean, I think from those two, I played Davis and Danso.
Well, I should have took VDV out here because he's not going to be ready.
Yeah, I don't think VDV will be ready. I mean, all these rumours going around that he's out for the season. Well, I guess
no.
But
the rumour I heard, I thought he was going to have his leg amputated. Do you know what I mean? They go around.
and as I said, I think Gray will probably be rested, which means Danso and Davis. Yeah.
Okay, if we're in agreement with that, this gets a bit more tricky. Midfield, who's your three?
Oh dear.
Even if you change I could have put Gray in here as well. I could have put Gray here as well, or according to what he picks at the back and whatever,
So I go Gray, Bergvall, and Sarr probably. Although Kulu and Bergvall play well together, but Kulu, he's too knackered, I think, at the moment.
Madison may well be fit.
And Madison might be there, but so I think I'd play 2 youngsters and 1 experienced, but he won't. I think because we've got to take control of midfield here. If Kulu's well rested, I'd have him in there.
He's had a week off. Bloody hell!
I'd definitely play Star over Basuma because Basuma to me has been such a disappointment. I know Ben can do it.
I think if you look at the Swedish connection, Bergvall and Kulusevski together could work.
Yeah.
Basuma, well, I've already said he would sell him in
if
summer.
You're playing Saar, Bentancur and Bergvall, then
Yeah,
Kulu's playing on the right wing, isn't he?
I mean, I'd love to see Gray play with Bergvall and Kulusevski, but as I say, I think Gray's going to be rested, so I can't put him there. Saar,
It's a tricky
Bentancur,
one. I mean, I wouldn't play Zuma, and I wouldn't play Bentancur. I know others would, but
yeah, it's a difficult
Well,
one
you
now.
could go Saar, Bergvall, Kulu. But if Maddison's fit, I mean, I'm doing this because, just for us to have a little think about what we think would happen. Obviously, if there's 2 more players fit on Friday, we'll do it again. We'll go for it again Friday.
Coming back, I don't think he'll start them. Be honest, with perhaps the exception of Udogie, maybe. But I think most of the rest of them will be on the bench. And all of a sudden, we'll have a bench that looks...
We have school kids on the bench.
Well, the bench will look better anyway if we've got a couple back, won't it? And then this is what we've got up front.
Tell's got to start, and Tell's got to start.
I'd put him in the middle as well.
Yeah, I would. So going back to the midfield,
if he goes in the middle, if Tell goes in the middle, Scarlett stays on the bench.
And
unless he tries to play. If you're going to play Son through the middle like he's tried, and it only works if it only works in half the amount of games we've ever tried Son there, then why are you persistent with it? You don't do it. If you're not, you don't play Son in the middle. If anything, you play Tell on the left wing, more on the right, or switch them around and play Scarlett in the middle. But then you're leaving out Kulu. Kulu.
If you play Kulusevski in the midfield, then you could have Tell, Son, and Moore.
Yeah.
I can't see Scarlett starting. I can't see Scarlett starting at the moment.
I mean, you could, if you were going for the fastest 3, really. I mean, you're playing Son with Tell and one other.
Yeah, I actually, some bits I saw of Tell looked all right. He wanted to take players on and whatever. So
Odebear might be back as well.
He was either that or early March, wasn't it, with him? So he might be back in training
as well.
Yeah. They're talking 5 might be back, and I think it's wishful thinking.
Yeah. I think
it's
going to be an interesting selection on Sunday, because if some of these players are back, and and we've had the week's rest and how he does it, but I think I think most of the players coming back will start on the bench.
And then there's going to be I
think Tell and Son, or Son and Tell, I think are a definite 2 out of 3.
It depends what you play in midfield, whether Kulu's there or not.
Exactly.
See, this is why I think if Kulu plays in the middle, if Maddison's not fit and Kulu plays in the middle with Bentancur and Saar, say, then you've got 3 from these 4 up front. Then I think Moore definitely plays on one wing, Son on the other. And it's a question of Tell or Scarlett.
Yeah.
I think if Maddison's fit, I think Kulusevski probably gets a rest as well.
Yeah, he might do it.
That wouldn't be a bad call, actually. He needs the rest. I mean, fans, must go strong. But that's fine if the players you're going strong with are energised,
Yeah, and they're strong
if they're not, there's no point.
And the last game we won at home in the Premier League was in November. Early November. I think it was against Villa, I think.
So just looking at these fixtures then, I mean, like Man United at home, they're a name, but they're not a great straights, are they, at the moment?
No.
Ipswich away, I know they beat us at home, but we can beat them away. Man City at home, midweek game, they got to travel. I fancy us. We just seem to have the Indian sign over them. I mean, we've beaten Everton the most in the Premier League. I think it's 31. Man City next 28. And West Ham next 27. You couldn't make it up against Man City, could you, about the amount of times we've beaten them? Right? It's pretty even between both teams.
Shane haven't got a hard game on they potentially have got a hard game, but I think that weekend after that is the cup weekend where they're at home against Plymouth. Then,
like I say, the Europa League opponent that we don't know on this Thursday, the 6th of March, and then
tricky one.
9th of March, we got Bournemouth.
It's a good game. That's a good
We
game.
get the second leg there at home. Then we get the Europa League second leg at home.
And then we got a big gap, as you say.
And then we got a big gap to Chelsea, and I think they'll fit that Fulham game in between there.
Well, as I said, the Fulham game I've got on the Sunday, the 16th of March, which is the same day as the League Cup final. So,
yeah,
I'm hoping that the times are different for the final and our game, because I wouldn't mind watching that, because I think Newcastle are going to win that.
That put even more pressure on us not having won a trophy if Newcastle win it.
Well, I guess you could look at it the fact of if we'd have played Newcastle in the final, something's got to give there, really.
Yes.
So, I mean, they haven't won a trophy since 1969. So,
yeah, I'm on the Spurs website, and it's Fulham Tottenham on the 16th of March.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what he's going for, David. Spence, Denso, Gray, Reggie.
We keep forgetting about Reguilon, don't we? He's still
Yeah, he's obviously not in favour. There was all that party stuff earlier on during COVID or some shit like that, and other stuff. I don't know. There was other rumours going around, like yeah. That is about it, guys. I haven't got nothing else that you want to bring up unless you've got any comments in the chat. Midweek is always a bit. It's harder actually to do a show on a Tuesday, even though we covered the Villa debacle on Sunday, you know. So you don't want to be too repetitive. But go on.
All I want to say is that little video I put together and put on a few of the WhatsApp groups, including your one, Adrian, is that whether you are Ange in or Ange out or whatever you think about his tactics, we've got to get behind him. Because we've got to have a wagons in a circle mentality, us against them mentality, because there's enough people out there taking the piss out of us. We don't want to do it ourselves, no matter what you might feel. I think we've got to get behind him, and let's see what happens at the end of the season. If we got all those injured players back and we have a good end of the season, a good Europa League, you can say, okay, he was right about the injuries. If we don't, then you can say what you saw about the injuries didn't affect us. So we won't know until the end of the season, presuming these players.
I'm fully engine. I just do not see the point of trying to change things.
There's no point.
It's not that. If you want to parachute a manager in, right, you've got to have the right profile manager. You can't just rush this, because he's got to be a manager that's prepared to play young kids, not get in and then not play them. He's got to be prepared to play them. He's got to be the right sort of manager. If Levy was to pull the trigger on Ange before the season, I don't think he will, because then all the pressure's on him. Straight away, he's going to get back.
Why would you come to manage Tottenham when you know
at the moment
mid-season now?
As soon as there's any downturn in your performances, you'll be sacked.
Yeah. You'd have to promote either Graham Matty Wells as head coach now, because Ryan Mason was rumored to take over a club in Belgium. So Matty Wells is head coach after the guy left to take charge at Birmingham. Is doing well. I forget his name now. And and the other two, you've got Serge Raimondo and Nick Montgomery. They were out in Australia, weren't they? And they were also managed Hibernian, got sacked, but they managed the Scottish under ones. They're highly rated. I mean, like, others don't rate the coaches. Well, if they ain't no good, then Spurs should change them. But they got them in for a reason, you know. And then you've got Milo Jedinek, who came from Aston Villa, and you've got Rob Birch, who's the goalkeeping coach. So there's 6 first-team coaches there, right? So it's like people say, well, Ange don't even coach the team. Hang about. Prior to Ange coming to this football club, I watched videos of him coaching. I don't know if you've seen it. Now he's got 5 coaches. What are they supposed to do? Sit in the changing room and do nothing. He'll delegate them what they've got to do. These are just other things, picking sticks up to hit the guy with. No, I mean, I'd just like to see what he could do when he's got a fit squad of players. I don't have a fully fit squad, but not 10, 11. At one time, we had 14 out, right? So not that amount. If you got 3 or 4 injuries like most teams have, the average amount of injuries, fair enough, and he fails. But he had injury problems last year, and we finished 5th. And that was with him losing the world's best striker, Kane, before the season started, losing VDV, then losing Madison, and then losing Bentancur, right? then losing players of international duty, then losing Basuma suspended 3 times, which is a disgrace. That's why I want him out of the club. Then losing Romero on a suspension, then losing them players on international duty, and we still got 5th. And 1 or 2 wins that season would have got us 3rd, believe it or not, I think. 1 or 2 more wins. So I thought coming in to impose a new system, a new football philosophy on the players, and to get 5th in your first season, I thought he did well. Under all that, this year it's been worse for him, much worse.
I mean, I remember when, there's a lot of talk, fans bringing Pochettino back. And don't get me wrong, in a few years' time, I'd love to see Pochettino back at the club. But the people that are calling for him back now, I bet you most of them will call him for Pochettino to be sacked when it was going wrong. Yeah. And that's like, it's all very well saying, we want winning mentality, winning attitude. Well, I'm sorry, supporters, you've got to have a winning attitude as well. And it's no use crying every time things start to go wrong. Oh, get rid of him, get another one in. Sorry, that's not a winning attitude. So that's a moaning.
Modern times, the knee-jerk reactions, modern times. You win, it's okay. If you draw or lose, it's meltdown. Even draw, it's meltdown.
There's 3 things I want the coaches to do this week when they do actually come in for training and they're not got their days off. 1, practice bloody throw-ins.
Oh, yeah.
2, change our defensive corner setup to what it was against Arsenal, where we put 2 players up front and didn't pack the box out. Now, I know they scored a corner, but that was lucky, in my view, Arsenal goal. And so, why don't we leave a player up, or at least 1 player up at corners? Someone like if Mikey Moore's playing, he's not going to do anything on a bleeding corner defensively. Stick him on the halfway line. Let them have 2-3 players back worrying about him.
I would what I'd like to see is like, I'm not into this number 6, number 8, number 10 crap, right? I'm not into it. I mean, because when I ask people, say, what's your number 10? They come in different modes. And what do you mean? I'm going, well, you've got a 10 like Dele Alli used to play off the main striker Kane. You've got a 10 like Maddison. You got a 10 like Ericsson. You got a 10 like Bobby Firmino, who used to play deep and feed the 2 wingers at Liverpool. What do you mean? What do you mean by a number 8? Right, exactly. What do you mean by a 6? Do you mean a deep lying defensive midfielder?
As far as I know, number 6, I was a left half.
Yeah, I remember that. Left half, right half.
I rather stick to Cam's, either attacking midfielders, creative midfielders, holding midfielders. Remember we used the word holding midfielder? And that didn't mean you just held the midfield. You did more than that. But like a holding midfielder. Sometimes, I remember Spurs, even in the 80s, when if they had injuries and it wasn't Odegaard, Dealers and Villa in the middle and one of them's out, David Howells would sit in front of the back 4. And you'd play that way. So he held the line and did well there as well.
One of the best was not Conte. What is his name at Chelsea? He used to be at Leicester. Conte.
Kante,
yeah. Kante. Brilliant at that.
Yep.
I think Tottenham, what we need, and I know this is you don't get these players every day of the week. Dave Mackay, Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, that sort of player in top of their game. In that midfield, controlling things, arranging things. I don't think we don't have a lot of brains in our midfield at the moment that can organise stuff. And
you could go Graham Roberts, Perriman. But when before Romero came here, they played 3 at the back at Italy. He was the centre half, but he used to step in the midfield, and we've seen him go forward and score goals. He got about 5 last season, didn't he? Something. So, and I've said we didn't have VDV, we didn't have the central defenders. I said, I think he would make a perfect number 6, if what you want to call a number 6. He could play that role, that holding midfielder role. He could play it if you told him to be disciplined there, right? The beauty of VDV and that playing a higher line, in my opinion, it's only my opinion, is that I think Romero's had 1 booking this season. Why is that? Well, when you're playing a high line, if someone hits a long ball to where you are, you're going to outrun 99 times out of 100, you're going to outrun the attacker. You're going to get to the ball before he does. And therefore, VDV and him don't pick up the yellow cards that they did under a Conte low block system. You're constantly defending most of the game, so you constantly have to make tackles. There's more chance for you miss time in a tackle, more chance of you getting a booking. And I just think, and he's not slow either, Romero. And when he first came in at Argentina, he improved that defence no end.
Oh yeah.
He improved their defence no end, you know.
And my third thing I want the coaches to do,
Go on.
when we get a free kick in the opposition half or anywhere near the halfway line, stick it in the bloody box. Don't pass it back to the keeper.
Exactly. That goes back to with
100%.
all free kicks. I
100%
remember when.
that.
Do you remember when Watford used to play the percentages game? Every time they got a free kick, no matter where it was, they lobbed it into the box. And that was when they had John Barnes and players like that playing for them. And they finished about second or third that season in the league. Didn't win it. That was under Graham Taylor.
It's so annoying. Yeah.
What is this free kick? This little 2 yards to the side free kick. They annoy the crap out of me, those free kicks do. Throw-ins as well. And another thing, right? We're on it. Let's have a rant now, right? When we're on it, what is the magnetic attraction of when you get a free kick a bit central or left or right central that somehow you've got to try and bend it round the wall because it looks on Sky TV? Is it in the contract or something? The amount you go and Google this. 1 in 16 free kicks like that, I think, get scored from round the wall. Now, you go back in the day, what happened to the? I mean, remember. Peters would chip the ball over the wall. Martin Peters just chip it over the wall for someone to run on and smash it.
Yeah,
what
never saw it work. Never saw it work.
The oldest shot Spurs. What happened to the tap to the side of the wall and someone running in and blasting it? What happened to the slide rule pass down either side of the wall, the left or right hand side of the wall for someone to come, like Argentina did against us with Odell when he was manager? You only got that goal. I mean, it's so robotic. Where's the variation? A lot more goals have been scored from corners now because you see all the coaches in there concentrating on corners and winning more corners than goals because you can rough the goalkeeper up a bit, you know.
And if you're going to put the ball across near the goalkeeper, put it low, not up in the air so they just come out and catch it. You know, I mean, we had that with Son free kick, didn't we? When we got back to 2-1, we got a free kick and he just came out and caught it, or put it over the penalty area where he's got to commit to come out that far.
There's a few. It's not, is it? It's what they used to call POMO, isn't it? Position of maximum opportunity, or whatever it was.
Right, guys.
Anyway,
I think we'll end it there. I'll see you in the back room once again. We've got Brad's link to his channel here.
Get over and subscribe. Working on a new song at the moment.
And like you can see below, if you like our shows, please comment, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You can find us on Facebook, Spurs Diehards TTID // Yid Army is in there. Nearly 14,500 members on that. You can find us on XCOM. That's more under my name. Got 3,200 on there, I think. My private Facebook channel's got 4.4 thousand members on it, I think. And we've just started a page which is approaching 300 members, but it's only been up a few days, so we still.
You got too many friends, Adrian.
Sorry,
I said you got too many friends.
Oh well, cyber mates. I don't know if half of them are still alive. You never know them out there in the ether. Who's alive? Who's not? Who's a bot? Who's a clone? Who's this? Who's that? You know. Anyway. I'm going to end it now. I want to thank my guests. They know where they are. I want to thank all you that are viewing the channel. I want to thank all you that take the time to watch us on playback. And with that, I'm going to play you out with this, and I'll see you guys in the back room.